only thing I want to say is go check out the videos me and Don SILL did together.
Yeah, man, we did some good stuff together, my friend.
Hot stuff, bro.
Yeah, man.
We got to do more, but we did some hot stuff. That played out video is probably pound for pound still my best video.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Top 5s with Don SILL. I'm your host, Don SILL, and we got another great Top 5 in store for you today. It's a Top 5 hip-hop bands. That's right, bands. And joining me for this Top 5 is the one and only Daddy-O from the legendary band Stetsasonic. That's right, Stetsasonic. Arguably the first rap band ever to perform with a live band.
Out in the world of state, no BS allowed.
He's a rapper, he's a producer, he's an A&R rep, he's a marketing guru, he's a technology whiz. He's the man, he's Daddy-O. So please, everybody, hit the subscribe button and subscribe, like, and comment below. We really want to see your input and what you have to offer as well. And let us know how we're doing. But without further ado, let's get right back into it. It's me and Daddy-O talking about the top 5 hip-hop bands. Daddy-O, frontman of the legendary Stetsasonic. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm in Mississippi.
Oh yeah, what do you got going on in good old Mississippi?
So I got my own tech company as well. So we do these runs, and this one is in Mississippi.
Nice, man. Yeah, you get to travel around a lot. I know you kind of based out of Houston. You got some love in Atlanta, and of course Brooklyn. Home.
Right. That's home.
Yes, indeed.
Snap music calling it trap. Pop music calling it rap. Lying about the people you know. Making up the places you go.
You've been in hip hop ever since I've gotten interested in hip hop, which is in like the mid 80s, early to mid 80s. Right. Stetsasonic, all that jazz, all that stuff. I was really into it. Had your tape, rocking it in my own boombox back in the day.
Stop. Check it out, my man. This is the music of a hip-hop band.
I'm from Brentwood, man, so we grew up in BMD.
Of course.
Yeah, so everybody in my neighborhood had a rap group and all that stuff.
Right.
MC survive your man to eternity. Show you the man that I can be. Give me a chance. The song will make you dance. Feel my love as we romance.
But what's cool about you is you stood and still continue to stand the test of time, and you're still doing it. You're still recording. You're still producing. You're still a part of hip hop, and you don't see a lot of guys with that kind of longevity through the 80s, 90s, and into today's sound and keeping up, you know?
I took a pledge to forget about the rest of y'all. Though you shoot, no need to wear a vest for y'all. It's your life that you stopping. Might as well forget about the shit that you popping. Me ain't no stopping. I escape drama like Thelma and Louise and knock out trees to get the cheese. Wanna get a play? See me at the front of the class. I'm a grade A student with a foot in your ass.
Well, I love it. Like I've pretty much put it in a ball or basket or whatever you want to say. I just love it. You know what I mean? And like, it's so weird, right, Don? Because like now, you know how people like my parents or your parents might hear some 50s or 60s music and it makes them sentimental, right?
Right.
I'm that way with like old school rap tapes and all the beginning rap records. Like not too long ago, I was listening to YouTube is great. So I was listening to something, it was called, it was two things. I downloaded them both. One was called the Best of Enjoy Records, and the other one was called the Best of Sugar Hill Records.
Oh, yeah.
And I was listening to some of those Enjoy records, and I was listening, and I was like, man, I don't think there's anything better. You know, I was listening to the precision and the balance, and I was like, man, I don't know if anything better. So I can almost tear up at older. I'm not talking about like from the Run DMC side, because that's when we kind of started. I'm talking about from when Flash and them was on Enjoy, when the Funky 4+1 was on Enjoy, when the Treacherous 3 made an album on Enjoy, and then tapes that was before that. You know, Phyllis 4, got to shout out Phyllis 4.
Education,
you know, I can almost tear up because I love it, man. I love it, And so to me, sometimes when people say hip hop, to me, hip hop is those old tapes. Just like an old guy might say, an older guy might say, rock and roll to him is Chuck Berry.
Right.
Right, it might not be to him Nirvana or Nickelback or something like that. So even though I've been involved this whole time, that's still real hip hop to me. You know what I mean? And that's what makes me so energetic about it. And then I keep seeing people do things. Like I said this before. I said, you know, in the very beginning, I only had things like those tapes to rely on, right? To copy, you know, even I could even say copy from.
Right, yeah.
But by the time, as time goes along, there's Nas now, there's E40 now, there's Biggie, there's Tupac, there's Future, there's Kendrick, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm still using these guys as influence. I'm not the old guy sitting around saying, yeah, if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be. That's probably true, but they bring new elements. I just got off the phone with Scarface.
Now tell me what that dude's like. Fucked up myself for good cause I was wrapped up in the street life.
You know what I mean?
Right,
they bring new elements, and I sent them a record because I said, yo, I gotta let you hear the song I did where I channeled my inner Scarface. You know what I mean? Like,
nice, yeah, one of the great lyricists.
It's so, you know, it's so much, man. And then, you know, the icing on the cake, Don, you know how it is. You from Long Island, I'm from Brooklyn. There's always great ice cream shops. So, you know, that banana split was always it. Yeah. It wasn't always from that Carvel truck. A lot of times it was standalone stores that made the best banana split. That cherry on the top is battle rap for me.
Yeah.
I slowly poke my chest out with these lines. I'm the pacemaker. I'm hard attacking. You've been on the winning streak, but I'm the windbreaker. Starter jacket.
Because they started doing stuff with words that I was like, oh my, that was a triple entendre. I'm like, what the hell did he just say? You know what I mean? So I'm like, now I'm being inspired by guys like Mike P and T-Rex and Daylight. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Steel toe to twerk twice. Put my foot down like I'm kick-starting a dirt bike. Blade weapon. Blade weapon. You privileged to get it. It's like your birthright. Put a butterfly into your cocoon. I can reverse life.
Yeah, man. I think it's just because I love it, man. I mean, I really do love hip hop, man. I really do.
Yeah, man. And same here. And to be, you know, sitting here for me talking to you, one of the pioneers of the genre is awesome. And that's one of the reasons why it's very cool to do this top 5 with you, because you were part of a group that pioneered a genre within the genre, so to speak.
No BS allowed. No BS allowed. Take that, y'all. From the back, y'all. We're not the whack, y'all. Beat, y'all. And don't stop, you keep on. Rockin' the hip hop. No BS allowed. No BS allowed.
You know, because this is going to be the top 5 hip hop bands, and so it's hip hop groups that use live bands. And I believe Stetsasonic was one of the first, if not the first, rap groups to kind of.
There's a little debate about that.
Yeah.
The debate is, was Nucleus a hip hop band?
Allow me to introduce myself, for my name is Chili B, and I'm a surefire, full-blooded, bonafide, house fucking jam on production MC.
Right, yeah.
Because they went on the Fresh Fest with instruments.
Yeah, they were.
I think it was all I think it was all electronic. I don't think they had a drummer. But that's a debate. I've had conversations with Jalil Houdini about it. We've definitely gone back and forth with Cosmo D about it.
Right.
Amongst our crew, we kind of don't cross them over to hip hop band. And it's not because the music was a little bit more electronic. It's because we know why we call ourselves a hip hop band. And I think one of the definite factors of a hip hop band would be turntable control. gotta kind of take your key from the DJ, because other than that, then it's just, I can't say it's not a hip hop band. I can't say it's not that. But I think other than that, it's just a band.
We rock this boat with a 12-inch cut called Disco Kryptonite. Jam on it, 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 jam on it.
But when you take your cues from a DJ, then that would be it.
That's what puts the hip hop spin into it versus
Yeah.
just being kind of like George Clinton or something.
Yeah, think about it. Hip hop is 2 turntables and a microphone.
Shadow it down, so let's spell it on. Spell it on, spell it on. Come on, ASRICA, Angola, Soweto, Zimbabwe.
Now, I mean, I know a lot of the new cats don't really identify with that, but hip hop is 2 turntables and a microphone. This is the way we were born. No band wanted to play behind us rapping.
Yeah.
Except for, God bless Bobby Robinson, God bless Sylvia Robinson. When they had their record companies, they did their best for those bands to try to duplicate the sounds that we were making when we were on the street and scratching those records together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But other than them two, other than Bobby Robinson's house band and Sylvia's house band, and then you had Pumpkin and the All-Stars over at Profile, it wasn't a bunch of bands that wanted to play behind us rapping.
The All-Stars need no music. The All-Stars need no music. The All-Stars need no music. I said all we need is funky.
The king of the beat.
Right. At that time, bands probably didn't understand the hip hop the way it was evolving and thought that they were,
Right.
musicians. Right.
Yeah, they thought they was being phased out. So yeah, I think turntable led that's gotta be where you really draw the line as far, and that's a daddy-oism. Other people might have a different take, but that's my take.
All right, cool. And there's always one thing I always wanted to say is, yo, daddy-o, school us some more. But all right, so are you ready to get into to this top 5?
Yes.
So the top 5 hip hop bands, hip hop groups funded by a band. You want to go first and put out your number 5?
Yeah, my number 5 would probably be Nucleus.
Nice, Nucleus. Now they were like a LA. They were a California-based group, weren't they?
Oh, they from Brooklyn.
Oh, are they from Brooklyn? I always thought my whole life that they were like one of the first California. Because they were like wiki, 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 and they had that whole Jam on It.
That's Jam on It. Hot record.
Yeah, it was awesome. When I was a kid, I learned. I was in a breaking group when I was like in 5th grade, and I had a windbreaker and the whole deal, and I was the hopper. Right. I can't do it now. It was way better back then. But anyway, that was one of our go-tos was Jam on It. Yeah.
Nucleus they were the first guys to go. I mean, of course they made records, right? So they made records just like, everybody else was making records. But they were the first guys to have that kind of presence amongst a whole bunch of people that only had a DJ.
Right.
Because they went out on a Fresh Fest.
Get ready, Houston, for the Swatch Watch New York City Fresh Festival. This Friday at the Summit, starring the world's best rappers, Run DMC, Curtis Blow, the Fat Boys, and many more. Then it's the world's greatest breakers, the Dynamic Breakers, the Mag Force Watch Breakers, the Fantastic Duo, and the Uptown Express. Get your tickets now at all Ticketmaster and Ticketron locations. Swatch the new wave in Swiss watches. The Swatch Watch New York City Fresh Festival.
So you gotta think, Run DMC, Fat Boys was on the Fresh Fest, Houdini was on the Fresh Fest, LL was too little, too young. I think Curtis Blow might have been on the Fresh Fest.
Nice.
You know what I mean? But they was the only ones with a band presence with any of that stuff. Everybody was coming out, whether they was a group or solo, they were all coming out with a DJ.
So how did the other acts, do you think, looked at a band like Nucleus or even like Stetsasonic when you come with a band?
I would think Nucleus went through the same things we went through, which is really, really more of a blessing than anybody can imagine, right? So, when we go to a show and we miking up drums, you gotta recognize that back in the day, nobody was miking up no turntables. Nobody was trying to figure out how a human beatbox would sound over the thing, right?
Right.
So, and we were very professional, and I know Cosmo, and I know he was too. So when you get to, I'm saying you're an engineer now, there's this concert, there's these rap guys coming. I'm sure that there's a bit of anxiety there, like, oh, here come these rappers, right? But when you know, then you see something you're familiar with, some keyboards, a drum, you're like, oh, you guys are on the bill too? So we used to benefit from that, man. We had some of the best sound checks in the world.
To the ladder with a hip-hop band of America, London, and even Japan. And you surely will admit by being advanced, nobody else does that like we can.
Because engineers was there and like, oh, we guys check your drums, you know. And then again, we were very professional. We were taught to be very professional from the top. So like, we wasn't rappers that was holding the top of the mic or nothing like that. You know, we knew mic position, we knew how to deal with the monitors and stuff like that. Because when you play instruments, that's all of the things that you learn.
Right.
I'm not sure how sometimes the other guys would be a little jealous. Because you're not, you know, until we went overseas, we were not the headliner. You know, until we did the Info Gear tour, we were not the headliner. So we're technically opening acts, regardless to where we fall on opening.
Right.
And you know, for the headliner or some of those people to see, man, these guys are spending a lot of time on stage, and it's just because the engineers was fun. It was fun having us.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sure Cosmo and them probably went through the same thing.
So your first number 5 is Nucleus. Mine, I went with the Fugees.
Right.
So they were also, I believe, because I love how you put it, DJ led. I believe they were DJ led.
Yeah, the Fugees is in my list. They just high up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get mad frustrated when I rhyme. Thinking of all them kids that try to do this for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I got the Fugees in there. I love the Fugees. A great groundbreaking group. Lauryn Hill, Wyclef, all them. The solid group. They're based out of New Jersey. You know, ton of hit songs. It's a shame that they fell apart because I think they had a lot more to give us as a group.
I do too.
Have you ever gotten to hang around them or meet Wyclef or Lauryn?
Yes, I remember when I met Lauryn Hill, when after the Fugees first came out. I don't think Bambaataa knew who they were. I introduced Lauryn to Bambaataa as the best female MC alive.
Wow, that's awesome.
I remember that. I did that at the New Music Seminar. And I've been around Clef a bunch of times, but not working. I've seen him work in the studio, but not working. But I've always appreciated them. I've always appreciated their music.
Now that I escaped selling 12 million plates, my people vibrates like California earthquakes. I keep a balanced head cause you're hot, they're not. MCs go Hollywood, they lose their spot.
Actually, yesterday when we was on site, something came on. I think it was Killing Me Softly, but you know what I'm saying? I was just marveling at that because, you know, Papa Pound, Killing Me Softly is a DJ, right?
Yeah.
It's Bonita Applebaum and her singing on top of it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And also the way they mixed genres as well too. They kind of, I don't know if they were the first ones to mix hip hop with reggae, but they definitely
did it well.
Yeah, they did it very well. Yeah.
And they did it very well. Yeah.
Hold up. Mida amiga, buenos dias, señorita.
Right, back to you, Daddy-O. What's your number 4?
So this is a little tricky, but I'm gonna say it. Everlast.
Everlast, all right.
Because outside of the House of Pain, when Everlast started doing Whitey Ford Sings the Blues, he was always on the guitar. And then he's done a few shows, like I've watched him do late night television, where there was a DJ with one turntable.
Nice.
And there was one turntable and him playing the guitar. And if that's not a hip hop band, I don't care what you know, it don't have to be like me. I don't know what is. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I really appreciate like everything that he brought forth. I like him. I met him as a person. I like him as a person. I'm still waiting on a verse from him. But I like what he did. Like there's only two guys that come to mention to me that I really like how they transition their hip hop. That's probably the best way I could say it. And it's Everlast and Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it was a very natural transition. It wasn't pushed. It wasn't forced.
It felt natural, yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah. So, Everlast for me for number 4.
This kid that back, she used to get fat stacks on the
Everlast for me too, like, and I agree with you. I think that's a great pick. What I like about Everlast was, for me as a kid, you know, white guy growing up and loving hip hop, he was the first one with some edge where you was scared, like he was scary. Like in the Jump Around video, when you first see it, he's in that bar.
No, he's scary. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
You know, he's not a punk.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So he could be scary. He could be pretty menacing.
Yeah, because before that we had, you know, look, I love Third Base, MC Search and Pete Nice, but they didn't have that edge. They had the flow and they were rhyming. And,
exactly.
But Everlast would look like he smashed a bottle over your head. And
that's why I love Mike P and battle rap.
Yeah. Exactly, because you need those guys with that little bit of edge, and that goes a long way. And that edge even carries on into his blues music, like you said, like when you know, and yeah. So he's great pick with Everlast. Now my number 4. So 4 and 5, I maybe I should have flipped them, but because I think that number 4 kind of took the lead from the Fugees, and this is the Black Eyed Peas.
They're on my list too.
Yeah, so I look at the Black Eyed Peas as you know, kind of like, if there was never Fugees, I don't know if there would be a Black Eyed Peas, but you never know.
Very true. It's very true. I mean, those are hip hop kids too, man. You know, Black Eyed Peas is on my list as well. Those are hip hop kids too, man. Well, you know what? When I mention them, then I'll give you my story.
Well, you can do it now, because if we both agree on it, we can just yeah.
But Black Eyed Peas, I never forget a show that they did to open up for Eminem in Miami, and it was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was very DJ led, but then, you know, will.i.am and the other dude, they had like some steps, because I guess Homie used to be a breakdancer. So they had steps that they were doing. It was just so dope. And then the drummer really was like a backing drummer. Yeah. Like it wasn't like overpowering having that drummer. You know what I mean? And that DJ and that drummer was just like, they was just working it, man. It was dope. I mean, put it this way, I don't think if Eminem wasn't as big as he was, they would have stole the show.
Yeah.
It just so happened that was the Stan Eminem. So that Stan Eminem is very difficult to do.
Yeah. That's when he was in top. I mean, I think he's still there, but that was when he peaked as far as fame and all that. Yeah. All right, cool. So now we're into number 3. Unless we both agreed on Black Eyed.
No. Well, Black Eyed Peas is a little ahead for me. So my number 3 is very, very difficult for me, because I really wanted to put the Roots in there, you know, but with three choices left, I can't put him in. So
Wow.
number three for me would be the Black Eyed Peas. Because I always, besides the other two that I mentioned on the bottom tier, I always, when I do interviews, I always tell people, I say, you know, I love you giving me props, and I love the kind of respect that you guys give me, but please don't leave out the narrative of the Black Eyed Peas or the Fugees.
Right.
Because I seen Wyclef do some incredible things when I seen them perform at the Apollo, where they just was doing it almost felt like an all turntable set. It wasn't, but it felt like that. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, my number three would be the Black Eyed Peas.
Don't you worry about a thing, baby, 'cause you know you got me by string, baby.
Very cool. So my next one here, my number three is the Beastie Boys. And the Beastie Boys,
you're right.
because they played their own instruments too.
Right.
So they didn't, you know, obviously they're best known for License to Ill, which no, they didn't play any of their own instruments. That was all Rick Rubin doing his magic. And
No! Sleep! No Brooklyn!
but after that, they started getting back in their punk rock ways, and even some of their music kind of has it's like a hip hop with a punk edge. You know, like if you Sabotage and all those songs.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's when they played their own stuff. Now, being a Brooklyn dude, and they're Brooklyn dudes, did you ever, I'm sure you must have ran into them quite a few times.
We did a few shows together, and they always was at the Rush office. Remember, they were signed to Def Jam, and it was also managed by Rush. So yeah, I used to run into the Beasties a long time. I mean, for years, until another one took over. For years, my number one hip hop record of all time was License to Ill. And I used to get a lot of flack behind it. It's so hip hop, you know, and I think sometimes people miss how hip hop that album really is. Because as far as the elements are concerned, it's all there. I mean, to the degree that some of those beats was just made with turntables.
Yeah.
No drum machine or nothing. It was just made with turntables. So, I mean, you want to talk about turntable use as an instrument on a record? I don't think anybody used the turntable the way the Beastie Boys did on License to Ill. You know, so
true indeed.
I really love them. I think that's a good pick.
Awesome. All right, so now we're into number two. And what's your number two?
My number two is the Fugees.
Excellent.
Yeah, my number two is the Fugees because I feel like like I said, I've always seen the Fugees as a hip hop band. Wyclef seems, you know, pretty pertinently stubborn like we were. You know, there's been so many times, Don, that people have asked us to do a show and don't bring the instruments. You know, and we like, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, if I can't bring my guys, then I'm not coming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And sonically, I can't even think about how it would sound without them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and Wyclef seemed to be that stubborn in the very beginning. Yes, their records did take off to be platinum hits, but even some of those early shows that the Fugees did, they had a band set up, and that just was beautiful.
But I remain a rebel, raise the basis for the EQ. The devil switching and can send me back to Mogadishu. Cause I've been wild since the was the juvenile Afro-centric profile back with righteous facts still in style.
What would you say, you know, touring around, especially in the early days with the band, were some of the pros and cons to it? Was it tough? Like, so if you're LL Cool J and you're just a solo act, versus having a full band. I mean, getting paid, splitting it 6 ways, that kind of stuff, versus, and also traveling and all those things. Take me through some of that.
For us, it wasn't that difficult because our headliners, which LL Cool J was a headliner at times, Houdini was a headliner at times. Our headliners, even though they didn't have a band, they had big sets. So it actually took longer time to set them up than it would to be set us up.
Come on, let me hear you say yeah! Let me hear you say yeah!
And it was aesthetics more than it was sonically. Sonically, all they had to do, LL had 2 DJs. He had Cut Creator and he had Bobcat. Sonically, you needed to know what those 2 was gonna sound like and how LL was gonna sound. And then Earl used to sometimes come on stage with him and say a couple of things. So it's like 2 mics, because the DJs didn't have mics from what I can remember. So it's like 2, maybe they did, but if they did, they talked a little. So, right. 2 turntables and 2 mics, but then he had these huge radios on stage and, like that kind of stuff. So it didn't take, it wasn't, it was cool. I mean, we had a tour bus, I don't know, people stored other things on their bus. We stored the drums and stuff. So that part wasn't difficult. Maybe in carrying stuff, but then we had a little crew with us too.
Right, yeah.
Maybe in carrying stuff, but it wasn't really that difficult with that. We never thought about the money in terms of splitting it up because that's the way we started.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like even the record, if you look at our records, we split the publishing equally all the way across. So we never really thought about money either. I think for us, it was, we knew we were unique, right? We knew we were unique. And everybody in Stetsasonic was probably unique to the rest of Stetsasonic.
Right, yeah.
DBC was a guy who, it stands for Devastating Beat Creator. He was a guy, that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to make these beats, he wanted to make these tracks, he wanted to boom, and then he was always the stickler for us to say rhyme styles. So he used to always say, it's not about your rhymes, it's about your rhyme style. So that's where you see all these different cadences, which that came from DB. He didn't create the cadences, but he was just like, if you're gonna just keep doing the regular 4/4, nursery rhyme thing, it's not gonna come across. But that's where you hear like, the cadence and Ghost Stets and some of those other things.
Yeah.
So,
All the ladies in the house, talking to all the ladies in the house. Let me hear you say house.
we were all very unique, and I think for us it was just about like, can this be true that like they're gonna accept us? Because we had a lot going on. Some people's stuff was pretty basic and straight. We talking 3-ring circus all the time.
Right.
So, even sonically when we making stuff, like even going through the process, it's like how we did some of the stuff in the studio. And I thank my band for this because this is the way I got there. Nothing is finished until it's finished. So where some acts might go in the studio and work on a song until they're done and work on the next one, we would lay down stuff and do as much as we could. When we knew we didn't have nothing to give, we would wrap that up and put on another 2-inch and work on that and then make notes. So by the time we come in the studio the next night, what we gotta do? Well, Daddy-O gotta do his ad-libs on that. Delight didn't do none of it yet. Delight, you ready with your verse? No, I'm not. Okay, we're not gonna do nothing, Delight. Paul, wasn't gonna add some scratches? Yeah, I got some stuff. But you know what I mean? Like, we would do it like that. So even that within itself was unique, because like a record like Sally, Fuquan made the beat.
Right, yeah, that's cool.
We had an idea that everybody was gonna do a solo record on the album. So, everybody was working kind of we had full reign in the studio, we booked, working to get stuff done in the studio. And we left, I don't know where we went, but we went downstairs and left Fuquan in the studio. And when we came back, he had that beat.
Some people don't like the way
That's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, you know what I'm saying? So,
I love that stuff.
Everybody was unique within themselves. So I don't know. Maybe some of the other guys could talk about difficulties. I think even now I'll do it, but I think I was just in a state of just marveling at what we were at that time.
Yeah, man. Yes, indeed. You guys rock, man. I love it. So here's the list we got so far. I'll just run through it to catch everybody up watching. So we have on our list so far, and we're going to narrow it down to together a joint top 5 here. So we have Nucleus.
Right.
We have the Fugees.
Right.
We have Everlast.
Right.
We have Black Eyed Peas.
Yes.
And we have the Beastie Boys. And we both agreed on the Fugees and
Black Eyed Peas.
And Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
So now we're up to number 2.
Yeah.
So my number 2 pick is the Roots.
Okay.
And Pennsylvania guys, I think they're from Philly, right?
Yeah, Philly, yeah.
Philly-based group. To me, always looked at them. I've seen them live a few times when I was covering for local magazines and stuff. I always looked at them as Stetsasonic Jr. Even always, my whole life, I always said, this is evolution. This is
right.
This is because I believe that without Stetsasonic, there wouldn't be the Roots. But again, you never know. It's the same argument you could have with the Fugees and Black Eyed Peas. But yeah, I like the Roots are awesome. They're with Jimmy Fallon. There's they've come a long way, and to me they always kept it real. And so I'm wondering with you, what are your thoughts on the Roots? And have you ever met them or jammed with them or anything?
I've never jammed with them. One thing that we did do with them that's very dope, I gotta find it again. There's a book. Is it the Hip Hop Immortals book? It might be. I think it's there's a picture book called Hip Hop Immortals, and that's a picture book with the Stetsasonic and the Roots together.
Oh wow!
Being thought up front, and everybody, the picture just fly as hell.
Dude, I gotta check that out for sure. I wrote it down because
I gotta find that. But so we run across each other. Of course, Amir Questlove is one of our friends and stuff like that. So yeah, I really love the Roots. And that's just a stubbornness for me. I just always saw the Roots more like a jazz band. And then they proved it in some years, because at a few years they were playing the New York jazz clubs without Black Thought. And they were just playing, and I always felt like that. I felt like they're great musicians, but I just felt rappers with a jazz band. And again, for the Roots, it's Amir led, it's not turntable led. So that was, that's a little stickler for me.
Like I know you gotta get your paper, daddy. You keep that big Bible. Look, listen, I need some love in my life. You feel me?
Okay, I agree with that. Like you said, because we kind of established in the beginning of this thing, DJ led.
Right.
All right. So who do you have at number 2?
That was a 2.
Okay, so who's?
Right? I had the Fugees.
Oh, that's right. You had the Fugees. That was my number 2. So now it's time for the number 1 pick from Daddy O.
Stetsasonic all day.
Yeah, and that's my number 1 as well. So yes. Stet, I'm repping.
Yeah, representing.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I mean, you know, something that's ill done is like, so with my age, a lot of things that I do, I just marvel. So I tell people every time I take a picture with one of these, I remember getting my film developed.
Yeah.
I'm still amazed, right? So one of the cool things about now is Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, you know, the list goes on. And so access to some of the music that Stetsasonic made, of course I have my own, but I do walk with a phone and all of that. So access to some of the stuff Stetsasonic made is right there at my fingertips. And when I get down to the nitty gritty of really trying to dissect some of these records, even though I was there, it's really concentrated, man. It's a lot going on.
We're keeping you active. Our rhythm will hold you captive. We're professors of the police scene, marketing to the top with the style that's addicting.
And it's pleasantly a lot going on. You know, we were messing around with pans and all that kind of stuff real early. So listening to Stetsasonic now and some good headsets, a good deal of it will blow your mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the inside story is knowing that we made the first album on $8,000, knowing that we mixed the first album to a 1/4-inch tape and not a 1/2-inch tape, and still having that sound sonically.
Right,
you know what I mean? Knowing that Go Stetsa with the live drums is only 3 tracks.
Dang.
Stereo drums and one around in the bathroom for the ambience. You know, and then, you know, like I said, all I gotta do is think of Prince Paul and DBC, and my mind goes crazy because I remember they was ill, like they was scientists. I was like, you getting ready to do that? And they was like, yeah. You know what I mean? And then, you know, what watch. And I'm like, what the hell? You know, Paul had all this equipment at 17 years old.
Damn, man.
What the hell did he just do? You know what I'm saying? Or little stuff like the in Sally, the them and the that's Paul. Just knowing where to put it's just mind blowing, man. It's a lot of ideas.
That's the thing, man. Like, you know, the creativity that goes into especially in hip hop, that goes into production and recording and thinking outside the box. And to me, that's what a lot of hip hop was, especially from the beginnings, to create instrument out of turntables and find those sounds and all that. And then also the beatbox, like, you know, to say, oh yeah, we don't have any instruments. Well, how about this? And then you know what I'm saying? So it's always genius was built out of necessity, and that happens too when you only have 3 tracks to work with.
Right.
You could still make legendary music that holds up to this day. Right. You know. So I urge everybody, if you have never listened to Stetsasonic, check them out right now. You could go on YouTube, find them, buy their records on you know, iTunes and everywhere else you can buy music. Dope stuff. Daddy-O's still doing it to this day.
Yo, Daddy-O, school some more straight from the mouth. And Daddy-O, do a crime, end up in jail and gotta go.
So, Self-Destruction in, was it like 86? I think that when you did
86? Yeah, 86.
Like 86, yeah, because I remember, dude, I wore that tape out, man. I listened to that all the time. That's why I was always like, yo, Daddy-O, school them some more, straight from the mouth of wise and all that. It was a positive song for with a real deep message.
And we just feel that one of the primary duties of a rapper in this day and age is to become a positive role model in the minds and in the hearts of the children, because a lot of these kids don't have positive role models to look up to. In most neighborhoods, drug dealer is the role model. So, you know, if we could continue to do projects like this, then we show them something to look forward to.
And it had like all the who's who of hip hop at that time was in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you were kind of behind that, right? You and KRS-One kind of put that together?
No, I wasn't. It was actually Chris's idea, period. He had already started the Stop the Violence movement. So he was already doing that. But then, unfortunately, in Long Island at the Nassau Coliseum, we all did a big show and a guy got killed.
We had no security at Nassau Coliseum. You have Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Bronx, Staten Island, Long Island, Jersey in the house. They started bugging. What happened was this kid got killed over a gold chain there. Out of all the many things that went on that night, that seemed to be the zenith of the ignorance.
Right, I remember that. Yeah.
So, and after that, like, you know, people began to start blaming hip hop for violence. And so Chris, I think in the beginning took it upon himself, like, I'm gonna make this clear. And then I always shout out Nelson George and Ann Carley. Nelson George, the writer, and Ann Carley, who was working at Jive. You know, they kind of put together this thing and started reaching out to all these rappers, and, you know, actually reached out to some people that people didn't expect to hear from, like Heavy D and all of that. So, and yeah, so Chris, we did this record, and I think it pretty much came out as a perfect record.
Yeah, man.
And about 11 years ago, I talked to Chris about doing a part 2. And he was like, man, you got it. You know, you go ahead and do it. You got my blessing, you know what I mean? And it's taken me about 11 years to kind of pull this idea together. It's not gonna be one song this time because it's just way too many rappers in the world. So we're gonna do it in a series of songs. We're now finishing up the first one, which is Bomb, Crazy, Unexpected, Fly. And I had already prior pulled in producers like DJ Premier, Rottweiler, Large Professor, Pete Rock, Prince Paul, Marley Marl,
legends,
KG from Naughty by Nature. So I'm sitting on a bunch of heat. It's just an issue of like, we got the rappers for the first song, but it's just an issue of just kind of getting the rappers situated for the second and third and all of that.
Yeah, because it started
unexpected type of stuff.
Yeah, because things started rolling, and then COVID hit.
Yeah,
because I remember I was going to go record some stuff.
Yeah,
and then, like then COVID hit, man, shut the world down for a minute.
Yeah. So we pulling it together, man. But again, one of the things I'll say is, the first time around we were just addressing violence. This time around, we're addressing violence, we're addressing opioid crisis, we're addressing suicide, depression, mental, because there's so many other things that's going on, man. You know, we notice, you know, kids, I heard somebody else say it, man, I hate to say it like this, but it's kind of true. A lot of people says, you know, older people say, man, I'm glad I'm not a teenager at this time. But there's so much going on. It's tough, man. It's tough. And so when you hear these suicides like Mac Miller, you know what I mean? When you see some of this stuff go on, man, it's like, it's because so much is going through their minds. So, you know, music has always been the great leveler. You know, it's always been the thing to calm you down, you know, even when you kids, you know, your mom get on your nerves, you put on your headphones and you listen to your music, and a lot of times that will calm you down. So we're just trying to present some of that great leveler energy.
Right on, man. And I think it's a great thing what you're doing. And this is, I mean, in these times we need some positivity, because it's just been rough all around.
Cause you could do crime and get paid today, and tomorrow you're behind bars in the worst way. Far from your family, cause you're locked away. Now tell me, do you really think crime pays?
But we still got to narrow down our list here, Daddy-O.
Okay.
So here's what we got. I'll go through them again, and then we'll see who's gonna stick. We already, so we got Nucleus, the Everlast, Black Eyed Peas, the Beastie Boys, the Roots, and Stetsasonic. So now we already know we agree on the Fugees and Black Eyed Peas. So
Black Eyed Peas and Stetsasonic.
And Stetsasonic we know is number one. That's going to be number one. What do you think? So
one of the ones I agree with you that I didn't think about was Beasties.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to throw Beastie Boys? So put Beastie at 5?
I don't know if they go at 5, but definitely the Beasties.
All right.
Like I don't know. You could work on the numbers. I just know, you know. And then I guess the
yeah. So we just got
the only debatables at that point become Everlast, Roots, Nucleus, which I feel like Everlast and Nucleus lose to the Roots. That's what I feel.
And yeah, because what I'm torn with now, because you put the DJ led thing in there, and then also because it is debatable who the first one was, maybe Nucleus, because of those reasons, could outweigh the Roots. Even though I know there's gonna be people in the comments saying, "How do you not put the Roots in there?"
Right.
But I do think Nucleus, even though, you know, I don't know if, to be honest with you, I always liked Nucleus when I was a kid, but I don't know if they continued on, if they were a one-hit wonder. Or
Cosmo is still trying to do a few things. I would love to produce their new album. I would love to. Hint.
Yeah, man, that would be dope. That would be cool. So, all right, so what are you thinking? So you think, I'm gonna leave it to you. If we'll take Everlast out of it for now.
I think Everlast is out.
So if it's Nucleus, Roots.
And I think you got a point about Nucleus.
All right, so here's the list. And again, I think the bottom 4, the numbers that aren't really things. Stet is definitely number 1, but I'll say, so we got Nucleus, the Fugees, the Black Eyed Peas, the Beastie Boys, and then Stetsasonic.
That's a dope list.
That's a dope list, man.
That's a dope list.
You rock, and you guys started it all, man. I don't care what nobody says. And I also wanted to say as a what do you call it? Like an extra, if this counts, was when Cool J did did that Unplugged.
So crazy. You know what's so crazy? I said that in my head. So what you mean is honorable mention.
Honorable mention, yes, sir.
I said that in my head. When we were talking, I said, man, that one thing that LL did with that band was dope. Because LL, when he did I'm Bad with that band, that was hot.
That was dope.
That was hot.
Yes, and yeah, man, and it was groundbreaking for that time. And I remember when I watched that, I thought it was going to turn the tide in a sense, and that more groups would be doing that.
It's so crazy that you're saying that, because I said the same thing.
Yeah.
I said, man, I know it was difficult to copy us.
Right.
Now he's showing you, because we have this debate amongst me and Hasib and a few of us, right?
Right.
We feel like the poster child for what hip hop is. If you was ever take hip hop and put it in a person, we believe that's LL Cool J.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
That's no disrespect to Rakim, and Rakim is Hasib's favorite MC.
Right.
That's no diss to KRS. That's no diss, but we feel like LL Cool J is hip hop personified. So you take the guy, the leading guy, and he does something with a band, I'm just like you, Don. Like, oh, they're gonna pick it up. They're gonna see that it's doable.
Right.
The only thing I've seen that's been really dope is the thing Big Daddy Kane's been doing with a band.
My rhymes are so doping, the rappers be hoping. This sound like me so soon I have to open a school of MCing for those who wanna be in. My field been caught, then again on second thought.
Like, yeah, it's kind of like he does his hip hop. It's like a jazzy feel. Yes. I had Kane too, man. He's been doing it, and that's kind of like in his more I was gonna say adult life, but he's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
an adult. But you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
more mature.
it's what do we call it? Grown folks music.
Yeah. And I love what he's doing with it now, because it kind of feels like spoken word sometimes. Some of the way he's doing it, and it's jazzy and it's dope. And,
but I definitely agree with you on that LL Cool J honorable mention.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, Daddy-O, I appreciate you taking time. I know you're in Mississippi doing your thing.
Right.
Do you want to plug anything? Tell anybody where they can contact you or find you?
No, the only thing I want to say is go check out the videos me and Don Sill did together.
Yeah, man, we did some good stuff together, my friend.
Hot stuff, bro.
Yeah, man.
From folk you don't even know. It's the D to the A-double-D-Y-O with the.
We got to do more, but we did some hot stuff. That played out video is probably pound for pound still my best video.
Oh, well, thank you, man. That was one of the.
Every time I put, I've posted it a few times, but every time I post it, it's like new people see it. And, just the transitions are dope. It's just a great thing. And working with you it was mad fun. Like, we had so much fun that day. It's packed into one day, but man, we had a ball.
Yeah, man. I still can't believe we pulled that off.
Shining for us. The guy doing the graffiti wasn't playing. Like
all
these people that it was crazy. Like, so yeah.
Sometimes the best things happen when they're not playing like that. We just literally hit the ground running and shot like a really dope video. It's one of my favorite experiences too, shooting videos and stuff like that, and working with you and let's definitely do some more, man.
Yeah. So just check us out. You could either put Don Sill's name in the YouTube search or Daddy-O. Really do the Professor Daddy-O, because I did Professor Daddy-O on purpose for SEO.
Right.
Because when I looked up Daddy-O, when the internet first started, I started seeing cookies. I started seeing restaurants. I'm like, they're never gonna find me.
Right.
So, and then I kind of grew into the Professor Daddy-O as I started doing the lectures and all that.
Yeah, man. Keep schooling them.
Yeah, so Don Sill or Professor Daddy-O, and check out our videos.
You're awesome, brother. I appreciate you, man. Stet.
All day.
All right, my friend. You rock, and I appreciate everything you do. And thanks again, man.
All right, man. We'll talk soon.
All right. All right, everybody. That's the top 5 hip-hop bands that me and Daddy-O came up with. Hope you dug it. And please let us know your top 5 in the comments below. Love to hear it. Again, everybody, please remember to subscribe, and we will see you next week.